representative of the working people class, the workers, the hands. He's a model character in the novel. Charles Dickens is so sympathetic with this character. This man is characterized by his honesty. He's characterized by his integrity. He's self-sacrifice man. He struggles to maintain his honesty, integrity, faith, and passion. But he's unfortunate. He is defeated by his family troubles and the outer troubles, the troubles that he is facing in his work. So Stephen Blackpool, at the end, falls a victim. He's victimized by a lot of unfortunate circumstances. He's poor. He suffers from poverty. He has some problems with his wife. His wife is alcoholic, and the problem is that he cannot get rid of her. He cannot divorce her, because according to the law in the industrial system, in the industrial time, there must be he must pay money so that he can get rid of her, so that he can divorce her. So law does not support him. Law does not support the poor people, and Stephen is a poor. He does not have enough money to divorce his wife. Stephen is an important character, not only because his poverty and virtue, he's virtuous character. You know the meaning of virtuous? What does mean virtue? Sorry?
When he be honest and
yeah.
Yes.
He's a follower of the moral values. He's a strong follower of the moral values. So he's an important character, and also he finds himself in the midst of some his work disputes or his work troubles and the family troubles. He's linked between the two streams of troubles that come from the family, from his wife particularly, and the troubles that come from his work. And we will have an idea about these two streams of troubles that lead Stephen Blackpool to a disastrous and sympathetic end at the end of the novel. Stephen Blackpool is a Christ-like figure. He's a Christ-like figure. You know the meaning of Christ? Is Christ? What does it mean, Christ?
سيد المسيح.
Yes. Jesus Christ in the English literature is a symbol of sacrifice. The one who sacrifices his life for the sake of the moral values, for the sake of virtue, for the sake of the commitment to the strong values of morality and religion. So Jesus Christ is a symbol of sacrifice. Stephen Blackpool is Jesus-like figure or a Christ-like figure. He sacrifices his life for the sake of what? For the sake of the moral values. He is committed to the moral values. He is committed to the ethics. You know ethics? What does mean ethics?
يعني الأخلاقية.
Yes, akhlaq.
Yeah.
The moralities. So he is committed. You know the meaning of committed? He's following. He's following. Sorry?
ملتزم بالأخلاق يعني.
Good. So he is a follower of the what? Of the ethics. So Stephen Blackpool is an honest man, integrity man. He is characterized by his integrity. So he sacrifices his life because he is what he is, a strong follower of what? Of honesty, strong follower of integrity. He has the chance to be wealthy, but because wealth comes against what? Against giving up what? Comes against giving up the ethics, the model ethic, the model values. But he refused to what? To improve his situation. He refused to be hypocrite, and then improves his situation. As a result of that, Stephen Blackpool sacrifices his life. He falls dead at the end of the novel because of this sacrifice. The sacrifice that comes from being committed to the moral values. Yes. Now let's go to the chapter to know more about Stephen Blackpool. Yalla Ali Kabum.
Yes, read the first paragraph. Or the first paragraph?
Second paragraph.
And the hardest?
Yes.
Yes. And the hardest working part of Coketown, in the innermost forfaction of that ugly citadel, where nature was as strongly bricked out as killing airs and gases were bricked in, at the heart of labyrinth of narrow courts, open courts, and closed streets upon streets, which had come into existence piecemeal, every piece in a violent hurry for some one man's purpose, and the whole unnatural family shouldering
Yes.
and trampling and pressing on.
What a description do we have? What is the description about? It's again a description of Coketown, this model industrial city. Again, the novelist takes us to the miserable situation that this town lives in, the suffocated nature, the labyrinth city, you know, labyrinth of narrow courts upon courts. Labyrinth means a place where you cannot find a way out. When you involve in this place, you cannot find a way out of this place. In Arabic, what does it mean?
Dead end?
Yes, dead end, or a place that you cannot find yourself to get. Yes, Sarah?
المتاهة.
Good. So Coketown is just like Labyrinth, because why it is called Labyrinth? because everything is similar to everything. Every street is similar to every street. Every building is similar to every. When you go inside this city, you will be lost because of this sameness, the similarity among the parts of this town. So again, the novelist takes us to this suffocated town, this polluted town, the town which is filled with with a smoke and dirtiness that come from the factories. Yes, Ali, go on.
Yes, and trampling and pressing one another to death in the last nook of this great exhausted receiver, where the chimneys for want to air make a draught, were built in immense variety of stunned and crooked shapes, as through very house put out a sign of the kind people who might be expressed to be born in it. Among the multitude of Cooktown, generally called the Hands, a race who would have for mere favor with some people. In Providence he had seen fit to make them only hands, or like the creatures of seashore, only hands and stomach. Lived a certain Stephen Blackmore, fury of 40 years of age.
Yes.
Stephen looked older,
Stephen
but he had a heart.
Is 40 years old. His age is 40. Okay. Now we are going to have a description of this character. Yes. Stephen looked older.
Yes, Stephen looked older, but he had a hard life. It is said that every life has its roses and thorns. There seemed, however, to have been a misadventure or mistake in Stephen's case, whereby somebody else had somebody else's thorns in addition to his own.
Yes.
He had known to his usual.
This means, roses and thorns. You know the meaning of thorns?
The spikes in the rose.
Yes. Stephen, this is an indication. Stephen has only thorns in his life. This is an indication to what? To the multiplication of what? Of the troubles he has in his life. You know multiplication? Know the meaning of multiplication? What does it mean, multiplication?
I think it's mathematics. In mathematics.
No. I know it is has something to do with math, but what does it mean? To have double problems. To have double problems. Okay. To have double problems. So his troubles are multiplied. His troubles are as if he has his own troubles and others' troubles all together. Okay, so he seems what? He seems unlucky person. He seems unlucky person. He seems as if he is cursed person. He's cursed. Do you know cursed? Yes. Hey, Fadla.
أستاذ رجل ملعون أو لعنة.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Okay, go on, Ali.
Yes. He had known to use his words, a pick of trouble. He was usually called Old Stephen, in kind of rough homage to the fact, a rather stooping man.
Yeah. The signs of hardship seem on his face. Seems on his physical appearance. That's why he look older than he is. He looks older than he is. Because of what? Because the signs of hardship, the hardship of life that appear on his face and body. Okay? Yes. A rather stooping.
Yes. A rather stooping man with a knitted brow, a pondering expression of face, and a lay long and thin. Old Stephen might have passed for a particular intelligent man in his condition, yet he was not. He took no place among these remarkable hands, who, piecing together their broken intervals of leisure through many years, he had mastered difficult sciences, and acquired knowledge of most unlikely things. He held no station among the hands who could make speeches and carry on debates. Thousands of his compeers could
he's very simple. He's a very simple person. He held no station among the hands who could what? Make speeches and carry on debates. He's isolated. He's simple. Okay. He does not like to show off. He does not like to. He does not like to be famous, right? So he's isolated. He is leading very simple life. He's none among the hands, but he does not like to what? Does not like to show off himself. Does not like to be famous, to be known very well by other hands, by what? By exaggerating himself, by giving speeches, for example, trying to involve in what? In debates. So he's isolated. He's a quiet person. Yes. Next paragraph.
Yes, continue.
The lights in the great factories.
The lights in the great factories. Okay, the lights in the great factories, which looked when they were illuminated like fairy palaces, or the travelers by express trains said so, were all extinguished, and the bells had rung for knocking off for the night. He had ceased again.
Yeah, we have another image. Last time we have the image of the of the town in general. Now we have another image. The image also related to what? The beginning of the working day. In what? The beginning, the end of the working day. You see now, they were illuminated like fairy palaces. The factories are compared to fairy palaces. What is seen from far is only what? Is only the what? The light that comes out of what? Out of the factories. The source of this light is what? Is the steam engine, the fire that comes what? That comes from what? From the factory. So it looks just like fairy palaces. You know, fairy?
Fictional.
Yeah, palaces. Which are mentioned in the what? In the fairy stories. In the fairy stories, which deal with what? With fairies, magic, that magic creatures, right? So what seems from a distance, or from a distance, long distance from the factories, is only the light. The light comes from the fire, the steam engine fire. So now we have an image of the factories at the end of the working day. So they were all extinguished. They were all extinguished. The palaces were all extinguished. What does it mean, extinguish? We use this word with what? With fire. When we put on a fire, then when we extinguish a fire, this means that the fire has what? Has disappeared, right? Fire has disappeared. So as if the fairy places, as if the factories are what? The factories are what? Here, when we use the word extinguish. Yes, Yahya.
Yes, they are fiery, so the result of extinguish. They are fiery, so the result of extinguish just the dark tint or just the red tint.
Yeah, the fire. The factories are flaming, as if they are what? As if they are flame of fire. So when they stop, the image of this stoppage of the factories is compared to the image of what? stopping the flame of the fire. Stopping the flame of the fire. Because the essence of the factories is what? Is fire. The steam engine is operated by using what? By using fire. So when the steam engine stops, then what? Then the fire what? Stops. The fire is extinguished. Okay, so we have this image, the image of the stopping, or the image of the image of stopping the factories at the end of the working day. Yes. Yes, Ali, go on.
Yes. All Stephen was standing in the street with all sensible upon him with the stoppage of the machinery. Of the machinery always produced, the sensation of its having worked and stopped in his own head. Yet I don't see Rachel still, he said. It was a wet night, and many groups of young women passed him with their shawls drawn on their bare hands and held close under their chins to keep the rain out. Yet he knew Rachel well. Her glance at any one of these groups was sufficient to show him that she was not there. At last there were no more to come. Then he turned away, saying in a tone of disappointment, "Why, then I have missed her." But he had not gone.
From the description we have now, Stephen Blackpool is waiting to meet Rachel. Rachel is a lady, one of the workers, one of the working women in the factory. What can we notice is that Stephen attentively and eagerly waits Rachel, right? He is waiting her, or he is eagerly waiting her. He is attentively waiting her. So this suggests an idea that this Rachel is what? Is a quiet, important to whom? To Stephen, right? That's why he is eagerly waiting to meet her. He is attentively waiting her, right? So when he is unable to find her among the rushing people, then he feels with disappointment. So we can guess how much this lady is important in Stephen's life, to the extent he feels disappointed when he is unable to see her at the end of his day, right? So let's see what will happen then. Yes, Ali.
Yes, but he had not gone the length of 3 streets when he saw another of the 12 figures in advance of him, at which he looked so nearly that perhaps the mere shadow indistinctly reflected on the wet pavement. If he could have seen it without the figure itself moving along from lamp to lamp, brightening and fading as it went.
Next paragraph. She turned being, yes.
She turned, being then in the brightness of a lamp, and raising her hood a little, showed a quiet whole face, dark, rather delicate, irradiated by a pair of very gentle eyes, further set off by a perfect order of her shining black hair.
Yeah, good. You see now the way Charles Dickens describes Stephen and Rachel. Their description is different from the description of Gradgrind and Bounderby. Okay, so their description is what is actual. It's humane. It is different from the description we have with the other characters. I mean, Bounderby and Gradgrind. Those, the description used there is an indication that those two characters are inhuman. They are rather machines than human. this is intended by Charles Dickens. This is an indication. This is a reference to what? To the content of each character. Okay, so the description used is an indication used by the novelist to tell us about the content of each character. So Stephen and Rachel are actually human beings, and they act, they feel, they behave just like any human being. But the description used with the other characters is an indication that Bounderby and Grandegrind are rather machines. They act just like machines. They behave just like machines. They lack the needed sensation that every human being has. So this way of description, this way of delineation, the character delineation, is an indication to the content of each character. So what do we have now? We have a description of Rachel, whose face is oval face, and her face looks dark. This darkness because of what? Because of the hardship of the work, because of the smoke that comes while she is working. But in spite of that, she is rather delicate. Is rather delicate. You know the meaning of delicate? What does mean delicate? علا؟
رقيق.
Huh? Yes.
بمعنى رقيق.
Soft-hearted character. This is the very idea. This is the very characteristic that brings Rachel to Thomas to Stephen Blackwell. Her diligence is rather attractive. She's Stephen Blackwell is attracted by her being delicate, and what else? Irritated by a pair of very gentle eyes, and her eyes are gentle. So we can guess from this description that Rachel is lovely character. She has lovely heart. She has a very daring heart. That's why we can see the importance of her presence. The importance of her presence in Stephen's life. He feels restless when he is unable to find her among the rush of the workers. So from this description, we can guess that this is lovely character, delicate character, and she is full of what? She is full of emotions. She's full of emotions. To the extent Stephen Blackwell finds himself in comfort beside her. Yeah. Go on.
Yes. Ahla Tishdal. When she had said this with a smile which had been quite expressed, though nothing of her had been seen but her pleasant eyes, she replaced her hood again, and they went on together. I thought thou wast behind me, Rachel. No, early tonight, lass. Times I'm a little shy, Stephen. Times I'm a little late. I'm never to be counted on going home. not going together neither. It seemed
two paragraphs below. I have tried a long time.
Just a minute. The next page.
I don't know in your book, but
yes,
only
yes,
two.
I've tried a long time and can't got better. But through tonight.
You can see some misspelling. Actually, they are not misspelling, but they are. The words are written in the same way they are spoken by the characters. This is the language of the workers. It is different from the language used by others. It is little bit broken language, incorrect language, because their pronunciation is different from the pronunciation of the high class people. Okay, so the words are written in the same way they are spoken by the characters. And the language used here is an old language. It is the Shakespearean language. For example, thou means you. Thou means you. Has means half. Hast means half. Okay, so be familiar with this kind of language, because it is an indication to the what? To the class of the characters. Yes.
Yes. Thou hast been that to me, Rachel, through so many years. Thou hast done to me so much good, and heartened of me in that cheering way. Why, that thy word is law to me. Ah, lass.
Yes. You see now the presence of Rachel in Stephen's life, how much it is essential and necessary. He puts his full confidence in her. That's why he says, thy word is a law to me. Thy word is a law to me. Her words are much appreciated by whom? By Stephen. This is an indication to what? To the amount of confidence he has towards whom? Towards Rachel, right? Yes. Alas?
Yes. Which paragraph?
Same paragraph.
Yes. Never fret about them, Stevie, she answered quickly, and not with an anxious glance at his face. Let the laws be. Yes, he said, with a slow nod or two. Let them be. Let everything be. Let all sorts alone. 'Tis a model, and that's all. Always model, said Rachel, with another gentle touch upon his arm.
Yeah, this is in short his life. This is in short his life, Stephen's life. Always a model. Always a model. It's a model. Okay? And Rachel affirms this idea. Always model. What does mean model? Yes, Surah?
يعني الشخص الذي يماطل.
No, trouble. Trouble. Yeah, trouble. Always in a trouble. Stephen Blackwell is always in a trouble. So Stephen and Rachel are the actual representation of the working class people. Charles Dickens wants us to realize the amount of troubles that this class has. They are one of what? They are one of the losers. They are one of those who had been crushed under what? Under the feet of the industrial machine. They have paid much. They have paid much, and they get little in return. Stephen and others, Stephen, Rachel, and others, and other working people, pay much, and they get very little in return. The money they get is incompatible with the efforts they give, with the sacrifices they give in their lives. Yes.
Yes.
Always
Yes.
Yes.
Always the model, said Rachel, with another gentle touch upon his arm, as if to recall him out of his thoughtfulness, in which he was bringing to the long ends to loose neckerchief as he walked alone. The touch of his instantaneous effect, he let him fall, turned a smiling face upon her, and said, as he broke into good-humored laugh, "Hey,
you feel now? You see now the magic touch he has received from Rachel. This touch tells him to be what? To have a smiling face, though he's much tired, though he's much troubled, and he's psychologically defeated or troubled, but still, this touch that comes from Rachel has released his troubles, and tells him to be to have a smiling face. So we can guess the importance of Rachel's presence in his life from these reactions, from the way he reacts to her when she speaks to him. Yes.
Yes, next paragraph.
Yes. And he broke into a good
minute.
Same line.
Yes, as he broke into a good humorous laugh. Hey, Rachel, lass, always a middle. There where I stick, I come to the model many times and again. I never get beyond it. They had walked some.
So he's unable to trespass the model, trespass the troubles. I come to the model many times and again. So he is unable to defeat the troubles he has in his life. He is unable to trespass, to jump over the troubles. He always comes to be in the heart of the troubles. Yes. This is in brief. Yeah. Now we thank you, Ali. We move to chapter 11. No way out. No way out. Somebody else to read. Yalla Duha. No way out means what? No way out means what?
It's no way to leave.
This means that, yes, Yahya?
Yes, it means that there's no solution
Good.
for the problem.
A point which you cannot find what? You cannot find a solution. You reach a point when you cannot find a solution. It is similar to a dead end way. When you're moving away and then you reach a point where you cannot turn left or right, or you cannot go forward. So this is a point when you are in a place you cannot find a way out. Yes. So as if somebody in the novel has reached this point. Let us see who is this. Yes, please.
The fairy palaces hearth into illumination before pale morning showed the monsters serpents of smoke trailing themselves over Cooktown, a clattering of clogs upon the pavement, a red ringing of bells, and all the melancholy.
Yeah, so Charles Dickens never let us feel. He never gives us a moment to escape this suffocating situation, the troubled situation of Cooktown, of this model industrial town. In every chapter, he reminds us with the troubled situation, with the polluted situation, with the monotonous situation inside Cooktown. So he keeps us within this environment. He wants us to be aware of the amount of the trouble, or the amount of the pollution that is produced inside this industrial town. So in every chapter, he takes us to the same environment. He reminds us with the same atmosphere, that suffocating atmosphere of this industrial model town. Yes. So what do we have again in this town? Clattering of clogs upon the pavement, rapid ringing of bell. Now we have the image of the beginning of the working day. In the previous chapter, we were given the image to the end of the working day. Now, Charles Dickens takes us to delineate another image, the image of the beginning of the working day. Okay, so what do we have in this? A rapid ringing of bells, and all the melancholy mad elephants polished and oiled up for the day's monotony were at their heavy exercise again. Do you remember the elephants, the melancholy mad elephants? What do they refer to? The elephants are used by Charles Dickens to indicate what? Last time. Yes, Yahya.
Yes, to indicate to the in general to the engines, and especially to the pistons of the engines.
Yeah, the machines.
And the way that it moves.
Good. At the machines, at their operation, when the machines are operated, when the machines start operating, they are compared to elephants, the mad elephants.
Yes.
The mad elephants, which move their heads just like pistons. Do you remember? Just like the pistons are part of the machines. So these machines now are polished and oiled up. Polished and oiled up. They are prepared to operate, to be operated. They are prepared to work. They are polished and oiled up for the day's monotony. This monotonous day, every day in the town is similar to the day before and the next day. Correct? And this operation of the engines is similar. They are operated in the same way every day. That's why it is called the day's monotony. The passage of the time in every day is similar to the passage of the time in the earlier day, in the earlier day and the next day. So all days in this town are the same. Even the working day, it begins with the operation of what? Of the machines, and it ends with what? With the stoppage of the machine. So there is monotonous movement. The days in this town are similar to each other. The machines now are prepared, are oiled, are polished to begin their operation, to begin their heavy exercise again. Yes. Stephen bent over his loom.
Yes, Doctor. Stephen bent over his loom, quite watchful and steady, a special contrast, as every man was in the forest of looms where Stephen worked, to the crashing, smashing, tearing feet of mechanism at which he labored. Never fear, good people of an anxious tone of mind, that art will consign nature to oblivion, said anyone, said side by side, the work of good and the work of
God.
man, and the
work of God, and this is what this is a depiction. This is a depiction of what? Of the situation inside what? Inside the factories. Inside the factories. This is a depiction of the people who are working inside the factories. So what do we have in this image? What do we have in this depiction? We have the work of God and the work of man. What is the work of God and what is the work of man? They are side by side. They are side by side.
Yes, and the former.
I'm asking. 1 minute. What is the work of God and work of man? In this line, what does Charles Dickens mean here? Hey, Surah.
The work of God, it may be represented to the people, to the worker in here, and the work of man, it is the system of the work that the people
the machine. The machine. Yeah, the machine is the work of man, right? And people, man is the work of God. So they are set side by side. Men are what? Are working on what? On the machines. Men are the what? Are the work of God. Machines are the work of what? The work of man. Yes.
And the former, even though it be a trove of hounds.
So an idea comes to Stephen's mind. An idea comes to Stephen's mind. That is to go to Bounderby to ask him. To ask him to what? To do what? To help him in what? In finding a solution in his family troubles. I mean, to put an end to his alcoholic wife. His wife is alcoholic. He suffers from what? From this relationship. This failure relationship. This troubled relationship. His wife is addicted to alcohol, and she causes him a lot of troubles and problems. So he's unable to what? He's unable to divorce her, because divorce requires money, and he's poor man. He's working man. He does not have enough money to pay to the government in order to what? In order to divorce his wife. So law in the industrial era is unfair. Law defeats the what? The poor people. It is law is set to help or to support only the rich, only the wealthy. It is not set to what? To help the poor, because materialism is at the center in the Victorian period. money is essential to everybody in the Victorian time. You cannot do anything without what? Without paying money. This is the capital system. This is the capital system. You know capital system? What does mean capital system? Abbas.
نظام الرأسمالي.
Yes. There you have to what? You have to pay in order to what? In order to get what you want. So law is against the poor people. Law needs money to be what? To be exercised, to be practiced. So Stephen does not have that enough money to what? To end up his relationship with his wife. So he goes to Bounderby, his employer, in order to what? In order to ask his advice, or in order to support him to end up his relationship with his wife. So 2 pages forward. I have come, Stephen began. The paragraph which begins with I have come. Stephen began, raising his eyes from the floor.
Which page, Doctor?
My book is different, I think. Page 59.
The work went on.
We have it in page 56.
Yes.
Okay. I have come, Stephen began, raising his eyes from the floor. After a moment's consideration,
Yes. I have come, Stephen began, raising his eyes from the floor after a moment's consideration to ask your advice. I needed over much. I were married on Asia Monday, 19 years in, long and dear. She were a young lass, pretty, we got accounts of her hairline. She won't bad soon, not along of me. Connounce I were not unkind husband to her.
He reveals his family life, his the misfortunate marriage. He tells about his wife, who was good at the beginning, and then she went bad. She becomes alcoholic after a short time. Yes, go on, please.
Yes, I have heard all this before, said Mr. Bounderby. She took to drinking, left off working, sold the furniture, found the clothes, and played old gooseberry. I were painted we hair. The more for you.
Next page, Baha. I've come to ask you, sir, how I am to be rid of this woman. One page forward.
Yes.
I think page 58 in your book.
Yes. I have come to ask you, sir, how I am to be ridden to this woman. Stephen refused.
To get rid means to get how I am to get rid of this woman. To get rid of this woman. He wants to get rid of his wife, the alcoholic wife, because he does not have enough money to divorce her. And law does not allow him to punish her. Law does not allow him to marry again from another woman. So law does not support Stephen Blackwell. That's why he is here. He is here to meet Bounderby to support him. Yes. Stephen infused.
Stephen infused a yet deeper gravity into a mixed expression of his attentive face. Mr. Sparsit uttered a gentle ejaculation as having received a moral shock. What do you mean? Said Boundary Boy, getting up to lean his back against the chimney base. What are you talking about? You took here for better, for worse. Mom, be ridden or here I cannot bear no
means
more.
You have to what? You have to bear her. You have to bear her. Oh, pros and cons. You have to bear her. Pros and cons. You know pros and cons? What does it mean, pros and cons? Yahya?
Yes, negative and positive.
Merits and demerits. The merits, and so you took her for better and for worse. Yes. Next, 2 paragraphs below. Now return Mr. Bounderby. If I do hurt, do her any hurt.
Yes. Know how returned Mr. Boundary Boy. If I do her any hurt, sir, there is a law to punish me.
Law.
Of course.
Law to punish me. There is a law to punish me.
Law to punish me. Of course, there is. If I flee from here, there is a law to punish me. A law to punish me. Of course, there is. If I marry to Doctor, their less.
To another, their last.
Their last. There is a law to punish me. Of course, there is. If I was to live with her and not marry her, saying such a thing could be, which it never could, or with on her so good, there is a law to punish me in every annoyed child belonging to me. Of course, there is.
You see, law is supposed to be what? Law is supposed to be a way out. But what we have here, law is what? Law brings no way out. Correct? Law is supposed to be what? Supposed to be way out. Supposed to be solution. But what we see here, what? Is that law starts for a point where no way out. Have you got the idea?
Yes.
So it is a critique. It is a critique. This novel is a critique of what? Of the system in general, of the industrial system in general. Now we have a critique to what? To the system of law. Law is unfair. Law does not deal with everybody equally. Okay? Law is biased. You know biased?
Doesn't take any side.
Huh?
Does not take any side. In the middle.
No. No, does not mean this sense. It is on the part of what? It is in the part of the rich. It is not on the part of what? On the poor people, on the ordinary people. Okay? So, in this chapter we have a critique. We have a criticism of what? Of the law system in the Victorian period. The law system is what? Is unjust, is unfair. It does not deal with everybody, with every with every man equally. It is on the side of the rich. It victimizes the poor. It victimizes the poor because law needs money to what? To be what? To be operated, to work. And money is what? Is the domain of the wealthy only. Money is the domain of the wealthy only. Money is not there in the what? In the hands of the ordinary people. That's why we see Stephen suffering, because his lack, because of the lack of money. Okay? Yes.
Yes, Doctor.
Middle of the page,
No.
Stephen subsiding into his quiet manner. Did you find it? Only 2 paragraphs below.
Yes. Yes. Now I tell you what, this Doctor?
Stephen subsiding into his quiet manner.
Subsiding into his quiet manner and never wandering in his attention gave a nod. But it is not for you at all. It costs money. It costs a mine of money. How much might that be? Stephen calmly asked. Why you would have to go to doctors' commands with the sweat, and you would have to go to the court of common law with the sweat, and you would have to go to the House of Lords with the sweat, and you would have to go an act of parliament to enable you to marry again, and it would cost you.
Is Bounderby serious in his response? Is he serious in his response? He ridiculously responds to whom? To Stephen Blackwell. He ridicules Stephen by telling him you can go to what? To the parliament, or you can go to the House of the Lords with a suit, so that they can what? They can help you. You can go to the parliament to enable you to what? To get an act. You know act? Yes, Ali?
An action? Like they do an action when you go to them in the suit?
Not action, but it is a rule. It is a rule from the what? From the court. You know rule? A law, for example, a law. One item of the law. One item of the law. No item? Yes, Surah?
احنا يعني واحدة من عناصر القانون.
Yes, an act. What do we call it in Arabic? Act.
act يعني قضاء أو حكم.
تشريع. So you can go to the court. You can go to the court so that you can get an act to enable you to divorce your life. So he ridicules. He makes fun of what? Of Stephen. Right? He does not respond seriously. He does not act seriously with him. He's not sympathetic with Stephen. So this is an indication of what? Of Bounderby's what? Greed. This is an indication of Bounderby's greed. You know greed?
One of the 7 deadly sins.
Is Surah?
يعني الشخص الجشع, the ones who love to keep his hands on.
Yes, the one who what? The one who does not feel others suffering. The one who does not feel others suffering. The one who is not ready to support people, whereas he has the ability to what? To help them, right? So boundary B has the ability to what? To support, to help Stephen, but his greed stops him from doing that. His greed stops him from doing that. Right?
Yes, right.
Okay. Chapter 12, we have the old women. In this chapter, we have the occurrence of an old woman, but nobody knows her. She meets Stephen Blackwell while he is out of Boundary B's house. What is she looking for? What is he looking for? Thank you, Duha. Yes, Surah.
Yes, she's looking for a Blackwell. She asking about his factory and how is he doing?
Looking for what?
Boundary B, for Mr. Boundary.
Boundary B. Yeah, Boundary B. He is looking for Boundary B's. Yes, she's a secret. This woman is a secret. How does she look? This woman.
She were wearing in a tindy clothes to look like in a respecting lady.
Yeah, respectful lady. She's She's gentle lady. Right?
Yes.
As if she belongs to what? To a high family, a privileged family. So nobody knows about her, and we have no reference. We have no reference to the origin or the name of this character in this chapter. We will come to know later on about her in the novel. So we will stop up to this point today, and next week we are going to deal the next 4 chapters, from chapter 13 up to chapter 16, I think. Yes. 4 chapters for the next week. Do you have questions?
So this chapter 12, is not important?
Which one? The old woman?
Number 12, yes.
In the old woman, it tells only about this newcomer, the occurrence of this new character. Okay, and that's all. All the thing that we can take from this chapter is that there is a character, a woman character, who occurs, and this character, this woman, is looking for Boundary B's house. How she looks? She looks a gentle woman, a respectful woman, as if she belongs to a high family. That's all. Do you have a question? Another question? Okay. Please write your names and goodbye.